gentlemen, and it puts Philadelphia in a precarious situation in regards to the edge room. We already know walking in that this edge room stunk. We were relying on Nolan Smith, and he's hurt. We were relying on Jalen Hunt, and he seems to be taking a little bit more time than we thought in terms of his development. And now we have Josh Uche and Azeez Ojulari. But then we had Zadarius Smith, who was the veteran presence, the guy that we thought could come in and solidify the edge room. However, out of nowhere, the man decided, hey, it's time to hang these cleats up. Can't do this anymore. And it's not because of lack of play. He was certainly getting playing time, and it's not for lack of ability, because Zadarius Smith is still a very good football player. And congratulations to him, by the way, on a very wonderful career in the NFL. What he has done over the past 6-7 years, pretty remarkable stuff. Fine football player. And, you know, we got to commend him for such a wonderful career and the excellent play that he brought to every team that he has gone to, because every team he's gone to, he's brought some sort of spunk, some juice, some positive play. So in that sense, kudos to you, my good sir. We hope you enjoy your retirement, and we hope that, you know, all is well with you in your future endeavors. This retirement doesn't necessarily come as a retirement that strikes as somebody saying, yeah, I really just don't have the ability that I used to, you know? I don't think this is it. I think it's one of a few things, and other Eagle channels have been floating this idea around, and I think they're right. I think he looked at the situation in Philadelphia and he said to himself, damn, I came here to win a Lombardi. This team does not look like it's ready to win a Lombardi. And in this moment, to be fair to Zadarius Smith, he's absolutely right. The way this team has been operating, the way this team has looked over the first 6 games of the year, if you want to break it down by quarters, go ahead. They are not a Super Bowl winning team. They are not a team that you can look at and confidently say they can go into the playoffs and make a run. That's just not how this team looks. And Zadarius Smith said, hey, the writing's on the wall here. This team's not winning a Super Bowl. Why am I going to go ahead, play for an organization that I haven't played for in my career, try to help this team will itself to a Lombardi trophy when I just want to go along for the ride? I'm old here. I'm just trying to get my few sacks that you need me to get in key situations and help you out in that sense. Now, other fans look at it and say, wow, the second we lose 2 games in a row, you jump ship. Yeah, that's the NFL for you. Sometimes that's how it goes. It comes in waves. So we're going to talk about what this retirement means for the edge room, maybe some other possibilities for the Philadelphia Eagles defense on what they could maybe do to help offset this loss, which is a significant loss. But before we do that, let me introduce you to the show and to myself, because this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am your host, Asif Badi, and like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here, help us grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts in the comments section below, be part of the discussion, and subscribing to the channel. Also, check us out on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review, because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to go ahead and hit that big red button that says subscribe and that thumbs up button. So please, we thank you for your support on the opposite side of the camera and on the opposite side of these airwaves. Cheesy announcer voice right there, but I digress. So what is the answer here, ladies and gentlemen? We had a lot of questions here in Philadelphia. What do we do with this edge room? Who do we go out and sign? Who do we go trade for? Should Howie make a move? Listen, we can do as many moves as we like here. It's not going to necessarily fix what's going on in Philadelphia's locker room, right? And that might be another point for another episode down the line. But again, I don't think one signing here or there is going to be the thing that fixes this team, especially on defense. However, a few signings here or there might help with the depth, because we, especially on defense, we don't have a lot of depth in this ed room, and that's because this organization decided to, go on the cheaper end in terms of addressing some of the depth on this roster. If you were to tell me you were able to keep a guy like Josh Sweat and Milton Williams, and then you added people like Josh Uche and Azeez Ojulari with this other cast of edge guys, I would say, hey, that's fine depth. Fine depth. However, you are relying on those two players to play significant snaps with Jaelan Phillips and Nolan Smith on top of it. And I think you're putting yourself in a very, very tight box here. And Vic Fangio looking at this and he's saying, well, dude, what the hell do you want me to do? Give me somebody to freaking work with here. Some people are floating out the idea of trading for a player like Jaelan Phillips in Miami, that defensive end, outside linebacker, pass rusher, who suffered an injury last season. He's coming back looking pretty okay, but Miami's a dumpster fire. And they're probably going to be doing a fire sale soon on some talent. Him or Bradley Chubb are on the market potentially, and Philadelphia has assets that they are probably willing to let go in order to bring people like that in. Now, I think we talked about this in previous episodes before with Jaelan Phillips, a guy who played with Vic Fangio last season or is familiar with the system that's in Miami with them. And maybe he has the athleticism to go ahead and be a plug and play type of guy, and he automatically would be our best edge rusher. Again, I don't think he necessarily is going to fix what's going on in the locker room and bring that veteran presence. He'll certainly be an upgrade and be a player that you can look at to rely upon down in and down out and get good quality play from him for sure. But again, you're not going to see the fruitions of that until later on in the year. Same with a guy like Bradley Chubb and even, other players that people want to talk about adding in the next few days. Again, one trade's not going to fix this whole situation. However, there is an idea out there about bringing in a couple of guys who have been in Philadelphia before that I find pretty intriguing. One being Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, because he's on the practice squad for the Ravens, I believe. And calling up Brandon Graham to see if he wants to give it another go. Now, I was at first in support of the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade because I understood. I'm like, hey, you know what? This organization gets the benefit of the doubt. You have to let them do their thing. They've earned the right, and they certainly have at that moment, particularly, to say we're going to build the roster our way, whether you like it or not. They did so, traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson away for Kenyon Green, and Kenyon Green is now not even on the damn football team. So now you're looking at this and you're saying, well, damn, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's a free agent. You can bring him in for cheap. He could fit right in. He knows the scheme. And maybe he brings out a little bit more swagger on this defense that we can desperately use, bringing on a little bit more depth at safety and bringing maybe a slot cornerback that can maybe plug and play every now and then. Might not be the worst idea to bring a player like that in the world. We all know certainly Vic Fangio likes to coach him, although he can be a little bit problematic in terms of sticking with coverages and stuff. But you know what? This defense needs some playmaking. As good as it's been, in my opinion, all year, we can use a little bit more spunk on defense. Because I can guarantee you, if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was out there on that football field on Thursday night against the Giants, I don't think the defense would have gotten as punked as they did because they got punched in the mouth that game. So bringing in a guy like that might not be the worst idea either. I don't think Philadelphia is going to go ahead and do it, but it's certainly worth a thought to go out and say, hey, Chauncey, want to come back for another run? We can use you, buddy. And I'm pretty sure he would love to be back in Philadelphia as well, to come in and get some playing time and make some big plays for this organization. I'm sure he would love it. The other guy is Brandon Graham, which I heard from Chase Sr., who really, really fine guy about covering the Philadelphia Eagles. Huge channel, Eagles Chat Sports. Really smart guy. And I like listening to him because I think he brings good insight. Bringing in a guy like Brandon Graham, calling him from retirement, might not be the worst idea either. A guy who can come in, can lead the defensive line, bringing a veteran in this room to help out a guy like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, a guy that the defense can lean on along with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to look at and say, hey, this is how you get out of funks like this, guys. This is what you do. This is the standard that we got to live up to, and we're not living up to it. He would come in and be the guy that can maybe galvanize this locker room a little bit more, bringing a little bit more spunk, a little bit more positive energy that we probably need. Because right now, this locker room seems, on the surface anyway, cracks in the foundation, little, bumblings here and there, in particularly on the offensive end, but that's maybe for another episode, like I said. But we all know towards the end of last season, Brandon Graham, while he was hurt during the whole year, he was playing really good football. He certainly didn't look like he was slowing down by any means. We knew when he was out there, he was giving good quality football. He was playing the run really well, getting good pass rush. Not necessarily getting home for sacks, but you know what? In today's NFL, to a degree, sacks are a little overrated, particularly in this Philadelphia Eagles defense, because we saw last year, I don't think we had a guy on the team that had more than 8.5 sacks. And that was Josh Sweat. So you don't need a guy to be 10 sacks, 12 sacks, 13 sacks in order to be an effective pass rusher. You need a guy who could play the defensive end position in Philadelphia that could do it all. That could play the run, play the pass, and contain. Brandon Graham, at the very least, is able to do all those three things at an average to above average level. Even off the street right now, I think he could still do it. So, is this idea of bringing in Brandon Graham a bad one? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think it's a good idea. I would welcome it. I don't know if Philadelphia would give him a call. I sure hope they would. Bringing him back by the bye week, which is in 2 weeks, in week 9, giving him a week to kind of get acclimated to the process, slowly bring him up until the playoffs come around, and then by then he's in playing shape. Might not be the worst idea. Might be the little chess versus checkers type of move that Philadelphia likes to show everybody that they can play. And that's me just being a positive fan at the moment, because I still think we have bigger issues, but that's neither here nor there. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Zadarius Smith retiring, a big deal, leaves question marks in the Philadelphia Eagles edge room. Bringing in a couple of players, maybe a Jaelan Phillips, maybe Brandon Graham, who I think is probably more important to bring back in this locker room, and maybe, just maybe, bringing back a player like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, as we mentioned before, could bring a little bit more swagger and spunk and a little bit more accountability amongst the players in this locker room, because last time he wasn't here, we had the 23 collapse. He comes back, 24. We win another Super Bowl, right? So there might be a little bit of a correlation here that Philadelphians may have to accept. So let me know what you think. That's it for the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you back here next time for our next episode. Hey. Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.